Rejected Stone Productions presents To One and All, the Rejected Stone Podcast. Real talk about real issues in real time. Your hosts for this Rejected Stone experience, Dr. Zebulon Miletsky and Dr. Drs Watson. To win day, let's begin.
So that's it. We're back.
Yeah. That's I want to begin with giving a special shout out to Randy Ferguson, who was the engineer, creator of the of our opening, and it still resonates and still makes me bob my head. So shout out to Randy, who's doing some really great things in the diversity, equity, inclusion world out there. Yeah,
that's right. It does still make you. I was feeling it. It brought me back.
brought in the essence. Yes, sir.
Yeah, still bumps. All right.
Yeah. So here we are again, and it's been, like I said, a few minutes. Life changes, and I don't know if you want to get into that later on down the road, but I know we have a really great topic today as we celebrate. This is our fourth season. Am I correct there, Doctor?
That's right. We're back to this is the first episode of the fourth season. 4 seasons.
And we're doing it historically and I would say respectfully in Black History Month, this February 2024 year, and what we anticipate to have a number of changes this upcoming year. Yeah, so this is definitely significant. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. And when we were talking about what would we do this year for this kickoff episode, we were thinking it's Black History Month, and all the, sometimes you can get bogged down. Those of us, especially who work in this area, we're getting asked to do a lot during this month. But we're doing our part. Doing what we can. And just to fulfill that role. And it's something that everybody can be doing. We can all be, making our contribution, and it doesn't take a lot, but, I think that's a great, way to encapsulate, what we're trying to do, not only this month, but really for the rest of this whole year.
Yeah. I think the word that comes up is perspective. For me, really, making sure that things that we do are not by rote, are not done purposely, but done purposefully. And to know that every minute, every hour, every day, we have to make the most of it, because the things that we do now are resonating in a way that maybe hasn't been done before. And really being conscious of what we say and what we do. And hopefully what we do is inspiring others to be great and to be better and to do better, so can't wait to have our conversation, my man. This is definitely coming at a really interesting time.
Yeah. No doubt. And I just can't. Yeah, we might as well just get right into it, because you especially have been very busy this year and doing a lot of new things, and it has been a while since we come back. I mean, it's been a few months at least, but what about let me see, I'm going to write this in there. What about what is about this year that has been, it's only just started, okay, and but it seems like it's been a long year already.
Yeah, man. I know for me, starting out with a new position, starting from last year, moving into a new position, I want to make sure that the things that we say are not indicative of the place that we represent or the institutions that we represent. This is definitely Rejected Stone Productions, opinions and voices and thoughts and our own. So we just want to make sure we are separated from those institutions, just for the sake of being legal. But yeah, I'm starting a new position, chief diversity officer at a really great institution, doing some really great things, and was honored to uh, be identified and selected as the keynote speaker for Brookhaven Township's Black History Month night.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The Black History Month Commission is doing some really great things, and it's really cool because I'm in the same legacy as my partner here, and my working partner and my living partner. You know, we all are part of that legacy. You know, and it's really great to be around some really great folks.
That's right. Your wife also won. Right. That's right.
Yeah. And it was all about arts and the and African Americans in the arts, and I was really able to talk about hip hop in a way that we usually do, and in a way that really uplifted and really talked about how important hip hop was at its inception. You know, in order for us to have these platforms and mediums to express ourselves unfiltered. The other thing we talked about, and I'll get back to that, was Ava DuVernay's movie with Isabel Wilkerson's book Cast, but it's called Origin. Okay,
huh?
Are we still on?
Yeah. I heard you. You were saying Ava DuVernay's.
My screen.
The movie about the book Cast.
Yeah, but really making these connections with the caste system in India and the caste system and in America, but also connecting it with the Jewish, I would say the Nazi occupation of Jewish folks and the annihilation of Jewish families and communities and people in wartime Europe during World War II. But the thing that stood out was, I don't know if I can say this read the book, but they made some really interesting connections of how the things that were happening in America are very connected with what was happening in Nazi Germany. That's all I say about that, because I don't want to spoil.
Okay, no, spoiler. I haven't, for example, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who haven't seen it. I'm planning to, and it really does flow well with as you alluded to, the theme for Black History Month this year: African Americans in the arts, or just the fact of Ava DuVernay, amazing film director, the art of film. And the way of depicting that, it was very well done, is what I understand.
Yeah, and I think that's really connected to our title, Doing Our Part. Because I don't know if people know this, but Ava DuVernay started her career probably in a time that people might think that's probably too late to start thinking about becoming a film director. But she was in her mid-30s and really took off. And being that she might be in her, I'm not going to even call her age out right now, because I'm but 4 or 5 movies or series in, she is doing her part to remind people that we are living in a caste system, especially Black folks and folks of color and historically underrepresented communities. But she starts off with a really interesting narrative regarding Trayvon Martin. And that's all I'll say about that as well. So I don't want to give too much, but it kept reminding us about why we're doing what we're doing in these roles.
That's absolutely right. I've been When They See Us, that Netflix special, the 13th documentary.
Yeah.
What that did to open a lot of people's eyes to this whole new way of thinking. It was a reaffirmation for me. I had been teaching about the 13th Amendment, and having students read it and always suspecting there's a problem with this. I wasn't 100. I'm not going to lie. I was never 100. Wasn't 100% sure until that documentary came out, and it was just an affirmation. And but you mentioned she's, I was always a big fan of hers. I love this documentary. That's one of the first things I ever saw that she did. It was called "This Is the Life: How the West Was Won." How the West was won, like the number one. Ooh. And it was all about West Coast hip hop. It's this documentary. Yeah. And the work stood out. I was like, this documentary, something very special about it. And she was in it too, but a little cameo appearance because she was also part of that. man, so you never know. Oh, and Selma, of course. What that was,
Yeah.
should have won an Academy Award. No, no, now, Brother Jarvis. So you were talking about you were alluding to this Black History Month uh, award that you
Mhm.
were just given by the town of Brookhaven. Now, I want to try. Will you permit us? Can we try to play a clip from the speech that you gave? I don't know if it's going to work, but I want to.
Listen, man, like I said, we only have one time to do this. So let's try it. Let's try it out.
Okay, doing his part.
Yeah,
I think now, tell me if you can hopefully see
I
this.
can see it.
Right, all right, here we go. This was set it up for us. What was happening? What was this night all about? What was happening here?
So you see the young people behind us, and really, like I said, within the context of the arts, I talked about how hip hop was really used to help us talk about things socially and politically. I said, just listen to the words of the message, and it really incorporated us going back to the '80s, going back to a time when things were really rough in our urban centers and probably suburban centers as well. But when Melly Mel and actually said these words, it really the opening line, broken glass everywhere. But what you'll notice as I start going a little deeper into the stanza, people start to feel a little bit more like I can be a part of this is an interactive type of speech, and I can actually chime in and provide my support for what you're saying, Dr. Watson. So if you want to hit the
Okay.
call, this is call and response, y'all. This is call and response. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You know, it's got money to move out. Guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room. Ropes in the back. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far because a man with a tow truck. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm just trying not to lose my head.
Yeah.
Response, that's your cultural connection.
Oh man. Woo. Y'all saw it here. If you didn't see it there first, you saw it here first. There it is.
It gives me goosebumps, man, every time I do that, and I see that, because it's hip hop is like timeless, is universal, is culturally connected to our roots back in Africa, and it also helps us to realize like everything is not rosy, everything is not great, but we still pushing forward, we're still being resilient, we're still finding ways to try to navigate through this place that at a number of years and still to this day it's not really inviting for a number of folks of color to really participate in what the American dream is all about, and I'm saying this really politely. But the amount of oppression that we have faced historically and currently, based off of culture and our heritage, is amazing how we have not buckled sooner or a while ago. But there is something I have seen here in America, and I was actually fortunate enough to go to Nigeria and to actually see things for myself. And there is a spirit in the country of Nigeria in regards to the people who have to do what they have to do each and every day to get by. If I played that clip from the 80s in today's time in Nigeria and translated that into what they are experiencing, it would resonate with them instantly, because they know what it means to struggle. But the thing I love about the people in Nigeria is not the struggle. It's like we are pushing through. We are being resilient. We are being resourceful. You will not break our spirit. And that was just really amazing. And if you notice, what I was wearing was from the shirt I was wearing was actually hand selected by me and my brother-in-law, and tailored by a tailor in Benin City in Nigeria. And that is the original cloth and stitching by his brother. I forgot his name. If I can find it before we roll out, I'll definitely share that. But yeah, yeah, man, it was amazing to stand up there and do my part and make sure that we, in the same vein that Ava DuVernay and Melly Mel had done, I'm reminding them about how great we are, but also how strong and united, going back to that number one, that we have to be in order for us to be successful. Yeah.
Listen, anytime you can get a group of Gen Z people and millennials, and it was a whole bunch of different age ranges in there, seemed like uh all together like that,
Yeah.
you have accomplished something.
Oh man, that made my year. That made my year, man. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well,
So
congratulations again. Just again for everyone, that's the Town of Brookhaven's Black History Month Commission. Shout out to Dr. Corrine Graham.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I
Huge,
believe
huge
he's the
shout out.
chair, I believe.
Yep, doing an excellent job. And I was tapped on the shoulder by our own friend, Dr. Georgette Greer Key, out in
Oh,
Eastville
yes.
Historical Society, out east in the Hamptons and the Sag Harbor area. And yeah, man, it was a pleasure working with both of them and the whole commission. Um, doing whatever they need. Whatever they call, I'm definitely there. So
Yeah, shout out to them. This was not mentioned, but I actually also, was a part of this a few years back. So they do amazing work. They do amazing work, connecting with young people but this is your year. This was your year. You know what I mean? I have to let it go. I was a few years ago. It was during the pandemic too, so it was a little quieter for me, but
yeah, yeah. But
no.
listen, I'm glad to be, like I said, be in that line, to be in that number, be in that legacy. But yeah. So I've been talking a lot. What's been going on in your world? I understand, that you've been doing some touring and you've been speaking at different places, but I know your book is starting to gain some traction in different areas. And yeah, man, what's how are
Yeah.
you doing? How are you doing your part, my friend?
Well, yeah. I have been doing a lot of, been fortunate to be asked to do a lot of talks about my book. But for all those who may not know, my book is called Before Busing, A History of Boston's Long Black Freedom Struggle. And out in hardback and paperback from UNC Press, and can purchase it anywhere. Books are sold pretty much Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Like
And
this, let them know where to get it. Yes, sir.
yeah, you could buy it from UNC Press directly too. There's all kinds of ways. But that has been great. That's a real sort of affirmation, to write a book that, just to accomplish writing a book at all was a big thing for me. I mean, even if no one liked this book or cared about it, I would have been still very pleased. But the fact that people are interested in it and do seem to, be liking the book and getting a lot out of it, and it's doing everything, I could ever have dreamed or wanted, a
Right.
book, especially a book on Boston of all places, to do. And so I'm incredibly happy, and I really enjoy speaking to different audiences about the book. I'm going to be actually tomorrow, Saturday, would be speaking at Calvary Fellowship AME Church in
All right.
Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yep. It's at an event called Little Known Black History Facts. And the main speakers are actually these two brothers, Graham Witherspoon and Fred Nurse, who are just like gurus when it comes to Black history. The factoids you never heard before about Black history. They
Huh.
always hit us off with something new. And
Right.
I'm a historian, and I'm always like, I get my pencil and I get my pad out, and there's just so much to know.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is they go beyond the the fact of just of slavery and stuff, and that's their whole point. Our history did not begin with slavery. So they take it back to world history, take it back to even the black man's footprint in the Bible itself. It's pretty amazing. And but anyway, I'll be there also talking about the book, and selling books and signing books. So come on through. If you can make it, we'd love to have people. It's at the corner of Herkimer and right there at Herkimer Street in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. So come through.
Yo, Herkimer. Hold on one second. We have a Herkimer right here in Long Island too. I don't know who that.
Oh yeah,
visual was. Yeah. But I think I may have met these brothers before. Does one of them wear like a he wears like a lab coat?
he's real tall. They're both pretty tall actually. Now that I think about
Okay,
it.
so it might be. I don't know if it's the same brothers I met, but I've seen. The cool thing is if it's not them, there's more brothers out there doing it kind of stuff. So
let me see if I could bring up the flyer. I mean, let me see, because it is worth. It's 790 Herkimer Street, by the way. I should know that address. But it's gonna be something else. There will be a continental breakfast as well, and some other things. I'll try to bring up the flyer if I can.
Yeah.
I'll do my best, but yeah, I mean, so I'm definitely doing my part. I'm exhausted, I'm running from here and there, and about to be speaking in Boston next week too about the book. I am kind of still on the book tour at UMass Boston, at the William Monroe Trotter Institute, which is a real honor.
Right.
To be, because he was a native Bostonian. Oh, but let me bring up this flyer. Can you see that? This is the little known. These are the brothers. Okay, I don't know if that's the one you were talking about. It's a picture of them.
It's definitely not them. So this is actually
okay.
This is actually pretty good to know that it's not just one set of brothers that are doing these things. And but how much respect and honor do we give brothers like this, in regards to what their actions and their speeches and deliveries mean to us? Because a lot of these things have not been put into our history books in our formal education, as well as even now they're trying to keep that out of schools. Even if you're trying to bring it in, there's so many bans on books that teach and have this counter story or counter narrative to what is deemed the canon or a number of different canons in our school systems, man. So big ups to these brothers here. Enough respect to what they do. So I wish I could be there tomorrow too. Like it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. It will be. Yep. And doing our part, man. These brothers are doing their part. Believe me. And they're just, I mean, the wisdom and collective knowledge. A lot of it's not just little known. Some of it's literally secret. The secret history is what they end up showing. And also just common sense ways of understanding the world. That's what I really appreciate, especially Brother Weatherspoon. But shout out to the ICB, International Christian Brotherhood, which is where they represent. As you can see the emblem on their shirt.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Sons of Allen, AME Church Men in Ministry program at Calvary, and also in the first district of the AME Church. They're doing their thing. They're going to be doing their thing tomorrow. And if anyone wants any additional info, you can reach Brother Cleo Small. And I don't know if I should put his number, but it's on the flyer, 917-698-3443. And Reverend Dr. Lisa Williamson, Brother Vince Hart, who's the local chapter president for the Sons of Allen.
Right on. Respect my brothers. Yeah, man. So are they asking you questions? Or I see that they're moderators, so are they gonna?
It's I'm really not sure. There's there'll probably be some back and forth like that. That's usually what ends up happening.
Good.
I've been moderator for them. They're the moderators, I guess. I'm not sure, but I think so. I think so. I think so. If I know them, man, they'll be grilling me about the facts about my book, which is always enjoyable because,
Yeah.
But to your point, the power of teaching Black history. I mean, we have witnessed even since the last time we have done a podcast in the last year or two, some of the zaniest, craziest stuff I would have just never, ever imagined could be possible. And that definitely includes, although it's not restricted to the fact that, the attempt to really outlaw the teaching of African American history. I mean, I don't even know. It just leaves me speechless. Teachers were facing felonies for potential possibility of a felony for teaching Black history. But what people are doing nationally, especially in Florida and also other places, is this kind of thing. Do it on Saturday at church, a church basement or some community.
Yeah.
And then some people have gone as far as to actually set up freedom schools. So we're who would have thought we would be going back to take a page from the civil rights movement of having to do freedom schools. But here we are, man, in February, year of our Lord 2024.
Man, I think Isabel Wilkerson, she was at Hofstra not too long ago, actually on Valentine's Day, and Decibel was like, "Yo, we need to go and check this out." And so on Valentine's Day, so I said,
that's something usually the man would try to pull off. And,
yeah,
that's a change up right there.
Yeah, but she said something. I want to make sure I paraphrase her right. But to your point, Doc, and I'll say this in two different parts. Like, I don't think I would have been able to get through my undergrad without having Africana Studies as part of my curriculum and part of my course selections. And I say that very kind of like surface because it really went beneath the surface and really touched my soul, because there's things that I wouldn't have found out even beyond African history and African American history, even related to either Chinese and Japanese and indigenous experiences, and that this information came through our Africana Studies courses, and still couldn't find it in my English courses in certain aspects. But what Isabel was talking about was the fact that the amount of time that we have been free, that America has been independent or gained its independence, in addition to the time that we have been free as African Americans here in America since the end of slavery, it's going to take that same amount of time, I think 240 something years, which will go into the next millennium, for us to be at a place where we have been free long enough and far away enough that hopefully some of these things that we're experiencing as far as these like oppressive forces will not even be around anymore. But the amount of years that's going to take for that to happen, it was like it blew my mind. And I know my wife could probably articulate it a lot better than I just did this now, but it goes to, we can't stop. You can't stop.
No, I got you. Yeah.
It's every day, like I said, every day that we're here, we have to contribute something to, as we move closer to that particular date, that we have to kind of deposit and invest and leave behind for others to pick up and put into their day-to-day, psyche and put different things on their lens for them to look through, to make sure that they are critically and consciously aware of what's going on in this country. Yeah, man.
That's wow. That really makes you think. Isabel Wilkerson, she is a different kind of thinker. She has really brought about a very specific. I mean, when you think it's all been said, and it does feel that way sometimes. Her kind of intervention about caste looking at things in a different way in terms of that. And what you just, shared with us is that's a real thought provoking kind of moment there to pause and realize, just how the nature of time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not, as we were catching up and realizing how the years have passed, it's like, I mean, it's like amazing, so that's why we got to keep, that's very uplifting. I find that to be very inspiring right now, because sometimes it does, I think that's true. I always sort of thought, well, this will come to an end someday. We're working toward that elusive, mountaintop moment where we just, but maybe we have to rethink that and realize it's not going to be just one moment where it's all, fixed. It's it's as you said it's an ongoing, it's more ongoing than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The fact that you just connected Isabel and Martin Luther King together, man. That's see, this is Africana studies.
I did. Oh, I didn't even know. Okay.
It just comes natural. That's what you do.
Man.
Yeah, see that?
A continuum. That's what I was trying to say.
This is exactly, you proved my point. This is exactly why we need Africana studies in every institution, every level, because it just
that.
To make those connections is the essence of why you all are really important to American history and to history itself. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I was explaining it, so I'm like, they don't bother trying to ban something that's not powerful. Nobody's going to go through all that, but they'll have us believe that it's that the reason why they're banning it or whatever is because it's of little value and that it doesn't have worth. And so many people believe in that lie, but that's where we have to use our own eyes, ears, and mind and see and dig what's happening. Who's going to go through all that trouble for something that's not powerful? And I attribute it all back to Carter G. Woodson, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who started it all. Since this is Black History Month, I've heard it said, and it'll be said again, but it bears repeating. We started Negro History Week, 1926, that turned into Black History Month, celebrated not because it's the shortest month, not because, man, it's funny when people say that, but it's not because it's the shortest month or the coldest month. He noticed folks were celebrating around Frederick Douglass's birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and that's why he chose the month of February, and that was a good choice, I think.
Yeah, it was. Once again, it's important to fill those gaps and get away from these stereotypes and get away for these false narratives of people like Carter G. Woodson. Like, why would you, for all the people in the world who hold the type of distinction that he has and had, to write the book that he wrote at that particular time, The Miseducation of the Negro.
Yeah, I can hear somewhere.
Yeah, that's why I was looking to. I was like, I know it's on the shelf.
I want to reach for it, but if I do, I'll pull my headphones out. So.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's funny we did the same, did the same thing. Like, I know it's here somewhere behind. Yeah. But the courage it took, man, and I'm thinking even the things that you wrote about in the Boston busing era and that situation. I know, you might have come up against some. That was pretty interesting too, because you said the word pleasing, and for me, I was thinking like, dang, what did he have to go through? Who did he have to interview in order to get some of the content and the facts to put into this book? But what was pleasing to you about actually seeing the finished product, or were there certain parts along the way that gave you joy? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly satisfying, personal level, intellectual, professional, everything. Because I mean, probably my life's work. Honestly, I mean, I don't know what else I'll do. I know there's more stuff planned.
Yeah.
But I think I've noticed people are starting to notice. They're like, there's a connection between once they learn about the fact that I grew up in Boston the fact that I come from a mixed race background and growing up being mixed race in a place that was so, first of all, segregated,
Right.
in the up south kind of way that Boston is segregated, and then also not just segregated, but really with people who seem to two sides that really were at each other's throats so much, and the hatred and division, the real kind of palpable kind of anger that was expressed, and it's true. It was. I'm sure that I have no doubt that it impressed upon me so much growing up, that I think that I had this desire to try to set things straight a little bit, set things right, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, so more and more when I go speak about the book, people want to hear about my part about it. We read the book, we love the book. The information is rich.
Yeah.
People, I get the same feedback. You had an angle on it. The way you framed it was different than I had ever really seen. Once people take the time to actually read it,
Right.
then they want to know, like, why did you write it? In fact, I'm working on an article right now. If the editor's watching, it's coming. I'm almost. It's a good friend of mine, but they don't play with that deadline, But it's coming to a newspaper in Boston, and an op-ed about why I wrote the book before busing, and what an honor that people actually want to know that they care. That means they like the book, and that means they want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I guess it's my attempt to try to bring about some kind of reconciliation around these issues in Boston. There is a way out, but you have to know the history, and I try to just tell that story, piece by piece, laying it out, and when you do that, there is some answers, because this is the 50th year of the anniversary of school desegregation in Boston, of busing this year. So there's a lot of people looking for those answers, a lot of good people doing that work, not just me at all. So a lot of people working on this.
Did you realize like the anniversary was coming up? Well, I'm pretty sure you as you were doing the numbers, but did you realize like how timely your book is like aligned with that anniversary?
Well, the editors of the press, I think, had that in mind,
Okay.
But to tell you the truth, though, the funny thing is, I mean, I remember the 40th anniversary about 10 years ago, and 2014, and it was no kind of anniversary. The word anniversary didn't fit because people were like, there's so much pain still and anger, unresolved, real stuff, and people's lives were affected, in ways that it's very hard to go back and reconstruct. So I wasn't really too keen on the whole idea of trying to come in at the anniversary. I was actually, and I mentioned this in the book, making the case for the fact that 1972, because the court order came in 74, but 72 was the year that the 14 Black families in Boston who got together to file suit against the city of Boston, when they organized themselves to do that, I felt like it's more worthy of recognition, because when they did that, they changed the city in ways that have been, I argue in the book, good for the city. It was painful and difficult, but I also felt that was important because so much of the focus, this has been one of the issues. The history books that have been written about this topic, they focused on mostly of the white, sort of ethnic anti-busing forces, ethnic groups around that, and made it more about that became the narrative, and the Black families and parents and children just got completely erased in that narrative. So I wanted to reset it back. Let's refocus this and focus on them, because they're the reason that whole thing happened. Lawsuit didn't just come out of nowhere. The court order didn't just come out of nowhere. It's just a result this lawsuit brought by these families in the tradition of Brown versus Board of Education. So that's what the book is about.
All right. Still waiting on my signed copy.
I just realized that. Bro, I have an envelope here. We're gonna take care of that today. Make sure I get that address. Yeah. Yes, sir. Man. That's way overdue.
Because it's funny, like the people I work with now come from an international experience, and I can see a number of them, being that they're now living or working in America, they're looking for these examples of I would say opposition to oppression, opposition against structural and systemic forces that are adversely affecting the climate, and for those who are underrepresented, how they access energy and access resources. And so a number of folks that I've spoken to, particularly from India, have talked about the fact that they look at the civil rights movement and movements like you're talking about, or this movement of trying to become part of this nation in different ways. I think we've always been part of this nation. I think that there wouldn't be a nation without African American and black bodies and sacrifices and blood, sweat, and tears, literally.
That's right.
But the fact that they're looking at, in the same way Isabel Wilkerson is looking at different systems, they're developing new ways of understanding what it means to be human, what it means to be powerful, and different aspects of privilege, how that lays out. So the things that you have written and the things that people are writing now, obviously there's a new enlightenment that's happening as more international voices and experiences and people are coming into America. Theirs is also this thirst to know a little bit more about the structures. And I think Black Lives Matter has opened up a lot of those doors as well to kind of help people understand some of the atrocities that we tend to talk about. But now when George Floyd unfortunately passed away at the hands of this police officer, now they're starting to realize, like, that's happening there. It might be happening where I'm at too. So I definitely see your book adding to this aspect of access and the lack of a great education, or what people are doing to show that there's two sides to being in America. There's the have and the have-nots, and what kind of sacrifices have people made, like this family, to help do the best for the next generation coming behind them. Man, it's so, oh my God, it's like another conversation.
Well, no, I know you done touched the nerve now, man. See, this is important. No, because it's a globalization, and we are being pulled more. I see that too, more into the world trends and events. That, we people used to talk about this American exceptionalism. We were like somehow immune to some of the things happening with the rest of the world. But, right. You're seeing the rise of the autocratic, type styles of leadership, let's call it, and to say it nicely. But these are different regimes and stuff. And we're seeing, let's be clear. We're seeing a form of that here in America, attempts at, I believe someone who's running for president right now, very prominently, basically told people, he said, I will be did he say a dictator on the first day? I forget. But, it speaks for itself. I don't know if that's a joke or how are we supposed to take that? I don't think it is, but it's Stony Brook has this thing called the Center for the Changing Systems of Power, and I like that title in a way because it's like that's what is happening: changing systems of power all throughout the world, and the United States too. We may be seeing the rise of some kind of neo-fascism, something. I don't know what the heck's happening. Yeah. It's there's work to do. To doing our part, what is our part? We've got to protect democracy, you know.
Yeah, because once that leaves, it's like, man, it could be a really dark season, if we are
It's
not
true.
doing our part to help enlighten people about, what is currently happening and what could happen. And it only takes a few of us to do that. Sometimes, it needs to be 100 or 1,000. No, we just need a few people to shine the light and help you understand that, even if we don't have all the answers, start searching, start researching, start asking questions, start being more inquisitive, start challenging, some things that people are saying. Like, is that really the truth?
Yeah.
And do your own fact checking, because it's real easy as we are in this hustle for people just to say things and put things on social media, because you're not taking the time to do the interrogation of what's being said. You can take what people say as a gospel, and a lot of things that people say are really negative about the other, as I put in air quotes for those that can't see. See. And I see that a lot where we are on Long Island. There's always been those people in that zip code, those folks over there. And we have to understand a little bit more about, is this a calculated thing? Is this an intentional thing? And if so, why? And who? So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Speaking of Long Island, I noticed yesterday Newsday had a follow-up to one of their spotlight investigations that they did. I think it was called Long Island Divided. And they're revisiting after, I don't know, 4 years. They looked at, they did these secret, we call it like exposés, where they had people, who were shopping for homes.
Yeah.
They gave them camera, and you got to hear what the realtors was really saying about, oh, you don't want to live in that part or this part. And it broke a lot of rules and laws in doing that, because that's fair housing stuff.
Yeah.
But we all know that it happens. But they got them, but it was very, I spent some time yesterday looking at that. Very, very interesting. So yeah, so we have to move beyond that. We have to move beyond it. That's it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to racism, and a lot of things. Lane Gross, who just stepped down as a director, and then to the new director, I think she's doing some really amazing things. Laura Harding,
oh great,
who is the next generation thereof. She is coming with the heat, and really appreciative for all the work they do, to once again to continue to add on to the fight that it's probably going to be going on for some time. But I was like, whatever you need me, just give me a shout, Yeah, man, this is I think it's a good conversation to start the semester, start the year off with.
I think so.
Yeah, and man, I'm really looking forward to picking back up where we left off, and adding on to whatever we're doing, and what other opportunities can we set up to speak to the people, So just throwing something out there for our next planning meeting and brainstorming meeting. But this gift of dialogue is really helpful, for me. Hopefully it's helpful for those who are listening out there.
Yeah. There's no shortage of work to be done. And there's good work being done. That's the good news. There is a lot of good work being done. But there's definitely a place and a position for anybody, to if these things kind of are concerning to those of you who might be watching this now or watching this at another time or listening to this on our podcast, email us, reach out, between both the good Dr. Watson and myself. We have been blessed and fortunate to have in our respective networks. We can connect you up with the right resources at the very least to, see what, how you might want to spend your precious volunteer time, because time is always moving on, as somebody once said. So yep, that's it right there.
Yeah. Man, but it's really always a pleasure holding counsel with you, my brother, and
Same.
we are looking forward to adding on to this conversation and hearing from you all out there about any topics that you might want us to address, or even guest speakers that might want to come on, or guests, not speakers, guests that may want to add to this conversation. So I know you have some things that you have to address, my friend, so I will not belabor
right.
to close.
Thank you.
Yes. But for those out there, we are not done, and we just took a pause, and we are going to continue this mission and doing our part to make sure that we are sharing the wisdom and knowledge that seems important to us, and it'll be really like a crime if we share it just amongst us. So we are here to spread as much knowledge and wisdom, but most importantly, love to you all out there. And this is what we do and what we love to continue to do with you and for you. So I don't know, Doc.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll take us out. Peace and love. Enjoy the rest of your February and the rest of your day. And we'll see you next time. Projected Stone Productions.